I asked you a question at the end. I said, why does lean work so well for some people and it's so hard for others? And you had one simple answer.
That the number one thing you want to find, the number of people in a team, it is the same work to do it for 10 people than for 200 people.
Really?
Yes. Take care of the people, they'll take care of the business.
What lessons have you learned that you could pass on that you don't want someone else to have to suffer through? Welcome everybody to another podcast of On the Shop Floor. Today I have the absolute pleasure of sitting with Alex Ramirez. For most people that watch this podcast, you'll need no introduction. But for the benefit of the people who maybe don't know you yet, maybe you can tell us a little bit about your story and how you got to be a crazy lean maniac. And I would like to just kick this off with, we just did a little factory tour together today, and I can't wait to send a video. I don't think I've cried in a morning meeting ever, and that one was over the top. And I asked you a question at the end. I said, why does lean work so well for some people and it's so hard for others? And you had one simple answer. What was that?
Oh, leadership, for sure.
And so you get 3 guesses at what the topic of this podcast is going to be. We are going to talk about leadership. So let's just kick it off with introduction. Tell us about you.
So thank you for inviting me in this podcast. It's a pleasure. So my name is Alex Ramirez, and how can I say my story? I've been really working for 24 years for an industry in the metal industry, let's say. And now in that period of time, I was getting a little frustrated trying to manage and find different ways that I could really be of good help to the people. And I came by 2-second lean. I tried it out and it was fantastic. People were just happy. I couldn't believe how I got people engaged. And it took from being a, let's say, monotonous atmosphere full of meetings with a lot of stress. It became fun, it became winning the game, and it became knowing and having control of the destiny of the shops. And when you see these big smiles of people, I knew I had found the nugget.
The love of your life.
The love of it. That's when I knew this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Now, ever since, I have now done my own business. So it's called 3Ts. It's Total Team Transformation. And why do I call it the 3T Consulting? First, I didn't like consultants, but I became a resultant.
I know the feeling.
Because normally these people would come and do and then leave. And so I didn't want to be part of that. And the name really brings the spirit of either it's everyone or it doesn't work, right? And leaders need to understand that the number one thing you want to find in a lean transformation is engagement. That's a key word.
Before you go, how many people did you have working under you for the last however many years?
I had different positions, and in charge of production in one plant was 500-600 people.
So we're not talking like small companies here.
No, that was a small company. Then other companies were 200. His VP of operations. So it wasn't the size of the company managing or the position or the teams managing. It was a challenge, right? It doesn't have to do with the number of people, but yes. So you can have a good dimension. Was a very regulated oil and gas company, but they gave me the opportunity, and I'm very grateful for that because I was able to discover what really lean culture is about.
Right. I mean, that's a sticking point. Like some people are like, oh, these, like 50, 60, 70, 100 employee companies, this is gonna be so hard to turn around. But here you're saying, hey, no, like right leadership, 500, 5,000, doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Matter of fact, the number of people in a team, it is the same work to do it for 10 people than for 200 people.
Really?
Yes, because it's the same principle. All you have to be is a leader that is engaged, that is wanting to help other people and thriving to get the people with living their life in great conditions, working in great conditions, making their life easier. That's really basically what it is. Supporting them to do great improvements by doing experiments and raising them up. That's fun.
So, I mean, and theoretically, it all sounds great. You know, you read the book and you're like, yes, this is awesome. And then you hear you're like, yeah, just go support people and clap and everything's going to be all right. But then reality sets in and you find yourself like, today's the day. I'm going to meet with my team. We're going to do some fun stuff. I'm going to head out on the shop floor. I'm going to spend time with everybody right up until you like get to your desk. And then it's like this explosion of quote unquote more important things to do. How do you start to disseminate between the two? Like like there's fires raging in every business, but as a leader, you have to be a coach. Like how do you balance that?
I had the fortune, but the first, Brad, I'll tell you, is it's not as easy as I am picturing it here in this podcast. We all, and every single person that has gone through a journey, you yourself, you've been in a journey, it's up and down.
Yeah.
But the key thing is that you are consistent and you're not giving up. You're figuring it out, and you learn by doing. And I think the biggest thing is we're part of a community, that you're not alone, and you need coaching. I mean, to say that I figured it out myself is absolutely not true.
Right.
I had a lot of help, a lot of coaching. I had mentors. And the question here is, are you asking the right questions? Are you reaching out to find the answers you need? Because if you stay in your little niche and think that you're going to solve it by yourself, you cannot do that. You're going through the wall. So, many key people in the community. I could list hundreds of people there.
Sure.
And thanks to them, each one helped me a little bit in my journey. But it's being inside chats, it's going to visit companies, see what they're doing. It's going to Japan to open our eyes. It's going to the neighbor company to see what they're doing, see what you can apply. It's reaching out, right? It's you can't figure this. This is bigger than one man person destiny. This is no man can do this alone. I mean, any person that thinks that they can do a journey by themselves is totally, it doesn't get the whole spirit of it.
So how, I was on the sidelines watching your transformation at the companies that you were working with, and it was nothing short of like, what the heck is Alex? Like, you're on another level. And so what does a day look like for you? Like, you come into work in the morning and lay out the day of a great leader.
So I don't know if my routine was great. What I do understand is that we learn by repetition. And this is where I understood the lean culture coming from Henry Ford and then Japan. And the whole story is doing routines, doing katas. And so I figured several katas that work for me. So number one is I would block time and walk the shop floor at least in every shift to know what's going on, so I can meet the people, so I can have contact with people. The morning meeting for every shift, as we know, you're really throwing in a good culture builder into a meeting that is participative of everyone. It's not just a meeting; it's really an event, as you know. And we can talk a whole podcast on that.
Oh, no doubt.
But it's those little things that help you. The improvement time, right? The Kaizen events.
So during improvement time, where are you?
So during improvement time, I would do either one or two things. Is one, do an improvement myself, so everybody could see that you're part of the team. Simple as we call it improvement time, but it's 3Sing. And sometimes instead of 3Sing, you find an issue and you do an improvement. or I would be videoing and going around the shops, wherever, any plant that would be in, and encouraging people, because when you took films, you know, I instituted inside the company to do videos of everyday improvements, and one way to celebrate that and have everybody very motivated was through a video in the morning meeting. So I would spend time to do videos of their improvements, to acknowledge it, to celebrate it, and to dissipate that learning, that knowledge throughout the different sites.
Right.
And so the Yakatan, the benchmarking was quickly expanding to other shops. So those are the two things that I was basically doing in the improvement time.
And I want, like everybody listening, I want you to think about that. Here's what were you,
The
operations VP of operations, out on the shop floor during improvement time with his iPhone in his hand, making videos for people.
A lot of videos in the Lean community impacted me.
Mm-hmm.
So I really figured this is very powerful. If I can have every member of the team feel what I feel when I see a video, well, how can I make them feel? And if they are projected in that video with their improvement, I cannot tell you how proud they are to see their video, and they want to do more. They want to do more improvements to be able to show. And so for me, it was the best investment ever. And you know, like anything, it took me 40 minutes, then 30, then I got down to 5 minutes. You know,
right.
But it's all about. Then other people were doing it in every group, and it was just fun to share videos between plants of their daily improvements.
So while you have the whole place running around making improvements, how does that impact standardization of work? They're making an improvement, maybe they're going to deviate from standard, and maybe last week John made the improvement and this week Harry undoes the improvement because he didn't like the improvement, and so you have everybody running around haphazardly making improvements. We've had
I laugh because
mixed bag of results with this.
We've made that mistake, all of us, but you know, the key is once you get them motivated to do improvements and they feel the energy of having something simpler, better for them, then you have to get them to talk. By that level, everybody knows and feels that they're all one team. You know, as Mr. Yabe in Japan would say, the new math, it's 100 minus 1. The old math said 99. But in the new thinking, the high excellence mindset, it's not 99, it is 0. So once you have everyone engaged, right, that's the key word, engaged, now you have them talking. Because before, even if they're in the same company, believe me, they don't talk between each other. So once they understand that you're all in the same team, might not have the same responsibilities, but we are all in the same team, we start sharing and saying, okay, how are we going to do this task? You do it different, you do it different. What is the best? Okay, so let's make a standard. And it could be just a little piece of paper, a little photo. This is how it should look like. Okay, everybody, if anyone has a better idea, welcome.
Right.
But that is very hard, very simple to do, but very hard to achieve. Why? Because it's not because of making the standard. It's because people cannot break those silos and talk to each other as a routine. That's why routines come very handy, right? We go back to katas every day.
Okay, so I'm mapping your day. We've done the morning meeting. You're then improvement time. You're out there. You're working with the team. You're making some videos. You're doing your thing, motivating everybody. And then after that, is it like you go to work?
So the typical, you have to block some time to respond at those levels. You have to respond to some emails, and you have to categorize them so you don't respond all of them at the same time. But you need to block some time to respond emails. I learned quickly that staying in a computer, you can stay and get engaged in emails all day, just responding emails. So you know the feeling. So you really need to pick your battles and say block half an hour here and half an hour there for emails. Then we would have what I call reviews. If there's a special project going on, okay, I would visit with that team. I would have a phone call with that team, a video conference with the team, whatever it is. And then we had multiple sites, so I had to go to different sites and be present. The job of a leadership, more than anything, is to lead, right? And you can't lead if you're not in contact with people, if you're not reaching out to your people, if you don't know them by their name, if you don't know what they do, if you don't know what they're struggling with. So it's a lot visiting and do reunions, and I would not say meetings, just, hey, how is this project coming along? Tell me the 3 things that are going well and where are we needing some help. Simple as that. PowerPoints, no meeting rooms, just out where the, as we say, Gemba, where the action is happening. And that would be my routine. Obviously, and the second shift would come. I would try to be in the second shift morning meeting and go do the whole routine again.
Right.
But it's blocking time for each event and making it a routine. If you cannot make that a routine, don't even do it. You got to be consistent. They need to see you're constant. You have a routine. And I truly learned that from the Japanese when I saw that, how a leader is doing, is Mr. Amazawa, or in Japan, if you ask him what does he do as a leader, right? 80% of the time he's in the shop floor.
No.
So, I mean, you're talking a highly executive president level is 80% on the shop floor. So it tells you where their value is. It's leading by example, by being in contact with people. So I would try to block time so no one can make meetings in your agenda, and spend time with the people you think they will need the help and that require your attention.
So then let's talk about improvements, because we developed a system which I'm happy to share, but I'm curious to get your take on it before I tell you. So you have improvements, 2-second improvements that impact just me in my area, make my job easier, right? Labels, holders, tools, like that stuff is great. But what about when you need a bigger improvement? How did you, as a leader, how did you facilitate and execute on like a new target? A target has to be 15% more throughput, like demand is up. How do we reach demand?
So there's all kinds of different improvements. I mean, we talk about the daily. So the daily improvement is only 20 minutes, something like that. So you need to be quick. You need to put things accessible, materials and tools. That's where the lean cave came from.
Right.
How do I put something in place so quickly? They go to a boutique, they get inspired or find what they need, boom, they go and do their 20-minute. Then you go to a second level where maybe they need to do something more in their area, and they need an electrician, they might need a welder, they might need a plumber, they might need HSC to come and look at it. Bigger organizations, there's more structure and processes that need to be followed in. So then we probably block that machine down for 1 day or 2 days, whatever it needs, but it needs scheduling, right? So we would capture all the ideas that needed to be done inside a QR code system, and then we have a list of all the ideas or safety issues to address immediately, or maintenance ideas to take care of, right? We had all these streamlined into a funnel. Now there's another third, I would say, level that, it requires now really moving a machine, right, or some flow and some capital expenditure. And that normally we would have a envelope to kind of freely expense it with, my authorization at certain level. And then you have the really top level where I had to move 3 plants, these are in the millions, but there was benefit, but there was some study behind, right? What are we going to gain from moving these 2 plants together, closing this one and moving all the people to that one, and the equipment, some equipment would be sold, some equipment would be obsolete, some we would have to buy new, and so all of these industrial plan that we would call, it's a planned structural thing for 1, 3, and 5 years.
Right. Well, I think for our audience, we got to come down a level. Like, we don't have $900 million to build a plant. But how involved, once you got away from the 2-second improvements, so you're looking at, okay, we need a flow improvement, we need a process improvement. How involved did you keep the Gemba people in those improvements? Like, did you just take their ideas and say, okay, we'll consider some of that stuff, or did you make them part of the process?
So I understand exactly what you're talking about. I'll give you an example. Is we wanted to improve every station, and every station needed to be the same. All right. We say this is the pilot, and whatever this is going to look like, we will deploy. So we definitely give it empowerment to the lead man that was managing, let's say, 5-10 people, and get together, and they would decide. And the reason why was that if they need a lot of authorization, it stops the whole spirit. So they needed to really take action themselves, right? And they had a threshold. And these are improvements that cost $50 or $10 improvements, and maybe $200, whatever. To block them for that, they just go ahead. The supervisor would order what they need in Granger or one of these, suppliers, and get it over with. So I think the key word there is give empowerment, authorization at a certain level to the shop floor, and then escalate. But every day we also had a meeting with a handful of people after the morning meeting. This is very important. Is a handful of people that manage the team, the group, the company, the plant. Not only is a handful of people that are really driving everything, and they just need to go, okay, is there a problem with improving? Is there anything that is happening that needs to be addressed? And so if there was, depending on the problem, that one person out of the 5 that were in that meeting took the task to come with a plan the next day. And so every day, you might not come with the solution, but at least you have to come with a game plan. And if it was, a maintenance issue, okay, the maintenance guy was responsible. If it was a production issue, production, please take it. But those escalation processes is very important, because it seems that when there's problem, where do you address it? Whenever you see the boss, whenever he comes from vacation, there's gotta be a process. We go back to routines. If there is a process, I know that I need an answer to go forward. I know exactly where I'm going to ask the question. I need help with this issue. It's a safety issue. What do we do? The plant manager or owner or whoever should take the decision. Okay, this is what we should. Do you have options? Yes. Okay, this one is. What do you think you should run with it? Okay, do it. And if not, they would escalate it to my level if they need it. But the key is empowerment. So they're not waiting for someone to make something happen.
Right, and I see it unfolding all the time. Is tomorrow is the same as today. Like, oh, we had a bad day, and then the next day, oh, well, we had a bad day. Oh, because of this, and there isn't that daily kata of, hey, yesterday was a bad day. Let's get together. What's tomorrow's plan? Like, if tomorrow's going to be bad, I'm okay with that. I just want it to be different. We should be trying something different than yesterday, because if you don't, you're just going to get the same thing as yesterday. So that's interesting to have a morning meeting and then a side meeting.
A side meeting that you're not using the morning meeting to solve the problem, because many times you try to solve it there. It's like, no, stop. The purpose of the morning meeting is developing the people and break that bubble where everybody shares. Now, if they can't solve it, it's very important this other step, right? Because imagine you do robots, right? You have a problem every day with a robot, but the same problem is the programmer. I'm just making things up. And if he has 5 post-its of that same problem every day, you know where you need to address your energy to help that person. Why are you having a problem with that? Do you need more research? Do you need a software? Maybe his computer's not even working correctly, right? So it's asking the right questions, going deep, and having a routine where you can address those issues. Don't let it pass.
Right. Well, I think this is leading into something we were talking about earlier today, when you were mentioning it's vital to have metrics on your business. You know what's happening. You know where to go, what to do. Like I got a problem, but I love the way you explained how to deal with that metric versus you tell the story. I'm gonna ruin it. You tell me.
Well,
your production is 50, not 100,
yeah. So many companies will get embodied, will get really focused on managing with indicators. So what does that mean? It means you have a list of indicators. You see the graph, you see the red, you see the yellow, and you see the green, right? And wherever is red, why you have to give me more? Hey, it's not good. You're not doing good. Let's see who's the bad guy here, right? And so you're really managing and saying and demanding results, putting pressure on that one team and that plant and that division and that shop and that machine, while what we should really be doing is detecting that, okay, it's red, there's something going on. Maybe it's not even a problem, but there's something that is prohibiting to have that number right. So we need to manage by questions. We need to manage by the right questions, not just questions, the right questions. And the leaders should be doing the right questions. It's not why did I not have my indicator in green? Why are you bad? Brent, why are you not doing 15 robots a week? It's Brent, how is your robots working? What is the number one challenge you have? Is the programs doing good? Is the new programmer working good for you? Does he have the tools he needs? What would be the challenge to at least cut by 2? Let's go see it, but you get the picture. It's really taking decisions and just pushing and putting pressure, which number one, completely destroys the safety net. So now no one wants to do any improvement or anything to do, because if they start doing a little mistake by trying out and running experiments, they're going to be managed by indicators and they're going to have a slap in their hand.
Right.
So no one wants to be the first one to try something new or innovative, because God forbid that he'd be fired or penalized or no bonus or whatever that means. So it's really just going and putting that safety net, saying it's okay, and it's okay to fail. Oh, we have red. What do we say when we have a problem? Thank goodness we have a problem. That's a gift. All right. So it's the same principle. Do not manage by just putting pressure in indicators. The indicators should tell you
time to ask questions.
Yeah, time to ask questions. I like that. It's time to stop and reflect together. I'm here with you, Brad. We're gonna fix this together. Let's talk about the production of your robots. Why do you think? What is your number one challenge?
Yeah,
Can you show
tell
me
people all the time. Like, it is pretty rare that someone comes to work and says, "Today's the day. I'm gonna screw everything up for everybody. I'm just gonna ruin our numbers." Like, nobody. So we've done something that inadvertently is causing the thing to drop, and so you're right. I love that. I think I might update our Kaizenify, so when it goes into red, it pops up and says time to ask questions instead of time to penalize. Time to ask questions.
Yeah.
We'll have to footnote you at the bottom, Alex Ramirez.
I can tell you, we would put by machine. Imagine this: we would put by machine the indicators, because that's what we're told all our life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Know where the problem is, and but imagine that person in that machine, how he felt. And the truth is, he probably didn't have the paperwork to do the job.
Yeah.
Right? And it happened. So if you're very far away from reality, in some office, in some floor up there in the big suite, it's very hard to understand that what's going on. And so safety blanket should always be there to open up, to break the bubble, and have people come and give ideas.
So what advice would you give to someone who is true blue lean maniac? You know them when you meet them. They're wide-eyed, they're curious, they're just like hanging off of every word, but their boss doesn't want to have it. I know the answer.
Run to the hills. No, you look. I've been in places where I thought I would change some of the culture, and you realize that it's not sustainable. I mean, you can do as much as you can and continue on, but you need to think ahead. What if Brad is not there tomorrow? Who will continue the effort of doing those robots?
Right.
The way you envision, the way that creative thinking, the solving solution kind of mindset. So if the leadership on the top is not always looking that there's a game plan, that everyone that's being replaced and everyone that is being put in different positions are with that mindset, then it's really hard to be sustainable. It just won't work. And so if that person, if you are the kind of guy that are very curious and you want to improve and that brings you a gig and you love it, but your management just won't have it and they don't have time for it, don't lose your time, because it will not happen. Either find a place where they value you and they understand what you are able to do and help that organization with, or just accept that you will be going to work every day with no purpose.
Right.
And that's it.
And that's it.
And
So,
that's it.
Out you go.
It's very simple. Either, like we're hurt, change, or change the people, or change the people.
Yeah.
I would say change the company or leave the company.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I wish we had the cameras rolling all day, because we were just shooting the breeze at lunch and everything. You're just dropping these bombs, and I'm trying to remember them all now so everyone can capture them. But you had a really good one about underestimating the position of a leader and getting it confused with being a boss.
Yes.
And being a coach. Tell us about that.
Well, the word leader says it all. Is people want to follow you, right? So what makes me follow Brad? Let's say you're a leader, because you are contaging me with that great vibes and energy of that safety blanket. That we can try things, we can run experiments, we can do this. You have a vision, right? You have a dream, and we all want to be part of that dream, and we want to follow that dream. But if you're a boss that is only in the position of, well, I need this many tables coming out, I need this many doors coming out of my factory, and then I said it's going to be like that. So now it's authoritarian. It's just giving instructions how to do things, and you just want that. You don't want to hear anything else. And so no one wants to come up with you and participate or tell you what's going on or really the insights of the problem. So a boss is just, having exigence on their people. And a leader is lifting up the people to make that happen. It's very different. One wants to be avoided. You want to avoid the boss because you never know when the hammer's going to come in your head, or you want to say, when is that Brad comes, because I love talking to that guy. Today we went to this company we're talking about, and the people there are used to leadership that love to talk, and everybody would come with us and talk what's going on. It was very open, right? You go to our companies, and who's that guy? Oh, is he gonna fire me?
Right.
Because they're scared. They are used to the boss mentality. They're used to being whipped, in the sense of, you do your quota, and so these are zombies coming to work, clocking in and clocking out. Oh, it's 5:01. I need to leave. And a lean word is like, damn, it's 6.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's 1 hour. Okay, sorry, boss. I took another extra hour, but I was very emotional here. And, the time flies. so they enjoy it. They go back to their families. They have a big smile on their face. Their kids get contagious. So a leader contagious the member of the team. The member of the team goes back home. He transmits that to his wife. His wife goes and talks to his daughter and contagious that to his daughter. And so it really improves lives. That's why we say it improves lives. But a boss will make your days, sour. You won't feel safe. Therefore, you don't do any improvements. Therefore, you don't feel satisfied. You take that back home. You're frustrated. Your wife's telling you, what's wrong? Well, I just had another day at work. And that wife goes, well, that's not safe, that's not good, then goes to her daughter, and so you see the chain, it's very different. So the boss and the leader.
Right, and that ties really neatly into what we were talking about with dignified work. Not just work. Like work is easy. Like how do we make the work dignified? How do we make the workplace a more dignified place? Like you were telling me a story about dirty bathrooms and dirty break rooms. You wouldn't let your dog eat in there, but people are expected to go in there. And so, what role does the leader play in? How do you change that from we work to we have dignified work, or we have a dignified workplace?
I like the word dignified because when I heard, you need to be very respectful. You need to be humble and respectful. That's how it works. I had a hard time internalizing how that really was in the shop. So I confused good manners, like, please come on in. That's respectful, right?
Right.
But in the lean world, respectful means I want to take care of you, Brad. You're going to do robots. I'm going to see how you're working. How do you spend your time at work? And I need to make sure that it's easier for you to do your job, that is not painful, that you're not putting yourself at risk, that you don't have safety issues, that ergonomically all your skeleton is in good shape, and that you're able perhaps to even eat good food. In some companies, you might say, well, some have some restaurants, some don't. Even as simple as a vending machine, do you offer them to eat crap? Or do you offer them to have apples in the vending machine, right? It goes on any level. So the word for me, dignified, is a key, because how can I dignify the way you work? You're a human being. How can you do robots the best way, the safer way, for sure with quality and all, but that you can take a rest and go to eat in a nice, dignified place. And some people will go out of this world to make beautiful places to eat, Hilton plus plus. But it's not about that. It's just clean, respectful, that you have a chair instead of standing up. It could be plastic, right?
Yeah.
But that they have something nice, clean, organized, healthy, that the ice doesn't have mold, that the refrigerator is clean, not full of mildew, that they can heat up their plate without food inside that is 3 days old.
Right.
I can go on and on, but it's just making things clean, organized, dignified for people to use. Restrooms. I don't know about you, but sometimes I don't want to go to any restroom until I get home.
Oh.
You go
my
to
factory or my house. Those are the two places. Or any other lean maniac.
You go to the gas station.
Yeah.
You kind of, I'll hold it. So the same thing is they should be feeling like I'm at home. I'm at work. It's okay, right? It's totally safe. It's clean, and I'll relax, and I'll have fun. Meanwhile, I remember we used to have restrooms. They had so much fun making it really cool, where they had jokes, really nice things done in the walls. They could have a blast or put music while they go to the restroom. Nice smell with some poopery, little things that don't cost much, but boy, they made a big difference, and it was always clean.
It's amazing that we're talking about like leadership at your level, and you're talking about potpourri in the bathroom. Like that's what's important. People are thinking it can't be that simple. Like who cares about the toilet? Like we need to get work done.
Super simple. Yesterday I was seeing a interview with a billionaire, and he said he questioned why Chick-fil-A was having great success. How can they make that people are happy? And they say, thank you very much. Legitimately, they give you a burger and with a smile. And I have kids, they love chicken. So once in a while we go and I validate that is true. And he says, well, it's very simple. As they take care of their people, they make sure they're okay. This everything we talk about. How do they make their job easier? You know, in fact, they don't work on Sundays because just they want to rest. You know, it's thinking on the people, it's thinking on how they flow and not struggle. You know, you see all these lines with people ordering, so they're not waiting long time, and they give them the right tools to function correctly, and it goes on and on. And it's very simple. If you take care of your people, and we've heard this, but when I see a billionaire saying it, is don't get boggled in everything else. Just take care of the people, they'll take care of the business.
Yeah, we have found that, you know, I'm sure I picked this up off of social media, but it couldn't be more true. And the more we do it, and of course we're not experts, but the more we do it, the better the results are. Is everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, not lean people want people to come to work and work. Just come to work. I just want them to come to work. I want them to do their job, and I want them to go home. And not realizing that their passion might not be their job. So they're not coming at it with the same enthusiasm you are. So how can we get them to have enthusiasm at work? And then it ties exactly into what you were saying, where you have to get to know the people. And once you get to know them and what their dreams are, now you have to connect them as a leader, as your job. I know Mike wants to buy a house. I got to connect that to making doors, in my case, and hey, if I work through this with you, this is the plan on how in 8 months you can have your house. And at my factory, we've helped 2 people now buy houses. I bought a minivan, and my favorite story is we had this kid working for us, and he was good, like really good. Could do any job in the factory, super humble, like just a great kid. And one day I brought him in the office and I'm like, hey, you're pretty awesome, but what's your dream? You know what do you, is it making doors, or like what's your dream? And he said, oh, my dream's to be a pilot. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, I'm a pilot. I could relate. I'm like, yeah, I could do another career. That's a good one. So I'm sitting on that one for a little while. And a few months go by, and I bring him back in the office again. And I said, you're doing great. Love having you here at the factory. You're fired. And he like, what? Like, why you're firing me? And I said, you're too good. I could keep you busy at this factory for a lifetime. You will be here when you're 45 years old, thinking about being a pilot. I said, here's the keys to my plane. Here's, like, you know, I had a small plane at the time. I don't anymore. I made an adult decision because I needed to buy machinery. But, you know, at the time, I said, here's the key. Go get your hours. Go do whatever you have to do to go be a pilot. And he kind of was shocked, you know, walked out the door. We were wondering what we were going to do without him. We survived. And it was like 2 or 3 years later, I hadn't heard from him or anything, but I was on Facebook, and he's standing there with his little girl. I'm gonna get choked up. He's standing there with his little girl in a pilot outfit beside an airplane. Wow. And I was like, that's what it's all about.
You made a difference in his life.
That's what it's all about. You know, so when you say,
but see, that's a leader. People want to be leaded by people like you. I mean, if you're a true leader, people get contagious by that. That's a beautiful story right there.
Yeah, that one, I mean, that doesn't happen every day, and I'm not suggesting everyone should run in their factories and let everyone go because they have different dreams. But the point is connecting their dream to your dream and say, how can we achieve this together? My dream is to build a company, your dream is buy a house, buy a car, stop renting, or get college money for your kids, or just have some investments, like whatever it is. Like, there's a chance that we have some of that info, and that's our 2025 mission, is to know what everyone's dream is and a roadmap to it. And I think we have to accept some of those roadmaps are going to be right out the door. And that's okay. And I'm okay with that.
Well, you'll have to just feed the funnel.
Yeah, I mean,
But that's a never-ending story. In operations, you will always have to feed that funnel if you're doing things right? Or if you're doing it wrong too, it's the same thing. But you definitely are giving a great example of leadership by helping them.
I appreciate that. We will continue to try and do that for as many people as we can. I do have a separate leadership question though now, and this is a philosophy of mine that I hope that it's wrong, because I'll tell you what it is and then you tell me what you think of it.
Sure.
As a leader, I think there's a potential for your decisions to be worse the closer you are to the money. So do you know what I mean? Because when I'm there and I look at something, I'm not only feeling the financial impact of whatever it is unfolding in front of me. It almost clouds. Like, I know I should start asking good questions right now to Mike, but Mike just drilled a hole where he shouldn't have drilled a hole, and I actually want to choke him. Like, how do you get past that? This is probably a tip for me.
So let me understand. So if there's someone doing something and he gets it wrong, and it costs you money.
Yeah, and so what I'm saying is, like, if the leader of that group is also the owner, in a lot of cases, like we're small to medium sized businesses,
process,
right? Yeah. So is it easier for a team leader to be like, don't worry about that, it's fine, let's ask some good questions, how did it happen, da 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 da, versus when you're attached to the money, you get the financial gut punch first, and now is that just something you have to get over? And
well, I think the right way to take it, especially, I think it's a good thing, because you have skin in the game if you're part of it costing you in your pocket, is to make sure that you go in deep and ask the right questions. And okay, we made one mistake, but we don't do it twice. So what do we need to do to make sure that this doesn't happen again? But in a nice, safe way.
Right.
It's very different to say, you better not do that hole again, or I'm going to fire your ass over there, right? Or let's stop. Hey guys, everyone, come on. This happened. Let's try to figure it out, because we just realized that there's a process here that is not strong enough. And so let's stop and figure out how we put a pokayoke. How do we avoid this happening? And are we using the right tool? And then that's where the leader should really ask the right questions. Are we using the right drill? Was the drill bit dull?
Right.
Are we sharpening them? Do we have the right sharpener? Why do we have to make a hole in there? Is there a different way of making holes?
Yeah.
Right? Why are we making holes anyway? So it's an opportunity again, and that's the difference between the boss and the leader. A leader will try to figure stuff out, will help people with a safety net to figure and improve, and a boss will just slam the hammer and say, you are dumb, I want you not to do the hole again, you understand? Let's move on.
Right.
You just cost me $200.
Well, I think there's a word that you keep using that I hope is resonating with everybody here, is safety net. Like, safe. People have to feel safe. If you are prickly, people aren't going to come to you. They don't want to talk to you. So I hope everyone's picking up on how many times, and maybe I'll put this into ChatGPT, and so many times you said safety net in this.
Believe it or not, there are companies that are purposely do not have a safety net, because in their mindset, in their mindset, they believe that if you're on your toes, fearful, you will promote the productivity. You will promote that everybody is doing more, right? Which is totally false, but that's the old management thinking, that fear will drive excellence. And it's totally the opposite. People will not give you ideas. People will not want to do anything. People will just wait to see what happens. Let's see if the other one gets fired first. I'll have him try it. So nothing moves.
Yeah.
And nothing will get done. Projects will not advance, and there will always be an excuse because everybody has a fear of moving forward, right?
Yeah.
And there's the blaming game, all the silos. So, but there are strategies, wrong ones, but they do exist. I believe me, and that fear ranks productivity. Totally wrong. Totally wrong. Because mind needs to be free to create.
Right.
And if you're thinking of what's going to happen to me, how am I going to feed my family if it just goes away? You can say anything you want, but if I feel fear, it's gone.
Fight or flight. I mean,
it is gone completely.
Well, we're getting close to the end of time here. As much as I want to keep this going, everybody listening also has jobs to go do, and they need to go lead their organizations. But we all learn our best lessons from mistakes. So, what lessons have you learned that you could pass on that you don't want someone else to have to suffer through?
Well, many, but I would say the number one comes in my mind is don't underestimate the power of doing Gemba walks. And I'm not saying the typical, going out there and reach with people, talk with people, connecting with people in your shop. If you cannot connect, you are not going to manage behind the desk. So get out there, talk to people, have not the IQ knowledge, but the emotional intelligence to be able to connect and talk to people. That is, spend more time there than meetings. Meetings just hide truth. You want to know 50 times more what's going on, just go to the shop. Or where the action is happening, right? To go to the place where they're typing whatever they're doing, or they're selling, or they're putting grass, or they're making pizzas, or whatever they're doing. Go figure it out.
I know.
Second, don't waste. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Keep going.
If a place, you asked me that question a little while ago. If the place and the top management or is not wanting nothing to do with it, do not waste your time. You will not. If that person cannot see it, he might be very good. I'm not saying he's a bad human being. Yeah. It's just not for him, and it's not going to happen. So either, acknowledge that you're going to stay doing the same thing, but it's not going to change. And I can tell you, I learned the hard way. So do not believe that you're able to change a mindset of already a fixed, dictator mindset of the boss, not the leader.
Right.
It's just going to stay like that. So leave, because there's some other people that will value the interest, the spark that you have, that creativity you want to give to the world. And there's so many places that need that and want that. You will be stunned to see how many. So don't stay in that hole. Look out and see where you're valued. And maybe the third would be when you understand that helping people helps you grow is the most incredible thing when you enjoy the joy of giving. If you really feel that you as a leader, you're working for the people, not the people for you. Brad, it's like everybody that you have in your shop, you are an employee of them. Mm-hmm. When you understand that mindset, that you're there to make and roll, just like you're doing, hey, you want to be a pilot? We'll figure out how you buy a home, how you buy a car, how you helping, and you're working for them. And it all translates into everybody's helping to do whatever is the mission, right? Helping, giving is way better than just see what you're going to receive. I think once you figure that out, is your life is a lot smoother and easier, and many things come your way when you're given.
All right. Well, I couldn't think of a better way to end that. Thank you so much for your time today. It's
Thank
been
you,
awesome
sir.
hanging out with you, and I believe now we've got a whole rack of ribs on a smoker.
Ooh, yes.
Let's get to it.
Before we get all dirty.
All right, everybody. Thank you for spending another hour with us here on the shop floor with Alex Ramirez. It was awesome. And if you want to reach Alex, how do people reach you?
I can leave in your video my, I have LinkedIn, I have email, I have a phone,
Perfect.
WhatsApp.
Easy to find.
We'll put it in the link.
We'll put it in the link. We'll put and
I'm
probably
doing my website very soon, so I'll put it in there as well.
And I really do know how to find him. So if you're struggling, just give me a shout. I'll give you his number. All right. Thanks, everybody. Now let's go make some improvements.